My name is Kuromiya Lucien and welcome to an introduction to VTubing. Welcome in. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I can see everyone coming in. This is very, very spooky. Normally, I'm the person being watched. I hope everyone is having a wonderful time. We have a Q&A segment at the end of today's slideshow. So if you have any questions, even if there's something not covered at all in today's panel, please feel free to come up to the microphone at the end and I will answer all of your questions. If you guys want to meet up with me after, I do have a meet and greet today and I'm part of another panel tomorrow, so don't miss that either. Oh, I'm really nervous. Normally, I don't see the people I'm talking to, so this is very nerve-wracking. I hope everyone here today has at least heard of the word VTuber before. And just in case you haven't, please don't worry. I'm giving you a full introduction to VTubers out there, different type of VTubers, and how to become a VTuber. From the very, very start, for completely free to professional, full-time, like me. So let's jump right into it. First off, for those in the audience who have never heard of VTubing before. Hi, my name is Lulu. I'm called a VTuber, derogatory. What is a VTuber? VTuber is anybody that uses a virtual avatar or persona for their live streaming or content creation purposes. So this can be anything from a PNG tuber, a animated PNG tuber, a live 2D model like me, or a 3D model with full-on hand tracking. So nothing flat like this, or this, but full-on 360 VTuber. Most VTubers remain anonymous behind their avatar for the purpose of their content creation and for safety. If you guys want to know, it is hot debated still on who was the first VTuber. Is it Annoying Orange? Or is it Kizuna Ai? Or is it my mom? You decide. For me personally, I see Kizuna Ai as the very, very, very first VTuber out there. But as I said, it's up to debate. On the slide, you guys can see some of my other VTuber models. My maid outfit, my cat grill, my sheep model. Anything goes in the world of VTubing. For today's panel contents, everything here we're covering is very beginner friendly. So even if you are pre-debut, so you have never streamed as a VTuber before, if you're intermediate, you're a monetized streamer on YouTube or Twitch, or if you are a professional full-time streamer like me, I hope I can give some of my knowledge to you guys. I very often advise other streamers and corporations on their VTubing ventures, so I hope I'm a good source of advice for today. What we are not covering in the panel today is hobby-only streaming. I'm sorry, we're heading straight for good old cold-hearted capitalism. And this is not a full comprehensive guide. There's so much more to learn, so much more out there about VTubing, getting started as a streamer, that I sadly cannot cover due to time constraints. I could keep going 469 for 20 years. This is also sadly not a cheat code to Big Cash Stonk Money Dollar. I wish there was a shortcut, and I wish I had my hands on it. I would be streaming from a yacht right now, if that was the case. Now chat. Live chat. Anime North goers. Who am I? For those that have never met me before, I'm all over the internet, unfortunately. Invading anything from TikTok to YouTube to Twitch. My name is Kuromiya Lucien. For short, you can call me Lulu. Kuromiya Lucien is my father. I have been a full-time VTuber since May of 2021, which makes this my 6th year as a streamer. I'm feeling very old right now. Going over every single anniversary, I'm feeling very, very old right now. We're still technically celebrating my 5th year anniversary over on Twitch, so if you guys want to drop by tomorrow, or the day after, or the day after, or the day after, I'll be there. At the moment, I'm sitting at 43,000 on Twitch and 77,000 on YouTube. As of making this slideshow, might be more right now. I am, as I said, a VTuber manager. I advise corporations and private VTubers one-on-one on their content and their content strategy regularly. So if you guys are planning to become VTubers, wink wonk, my applications are open at the moment. I create daily videos over on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I am a singer. I create original songs and song covers, mostly Vocaloid and anime covers over on my YouTube channel. And I stream 4 to 5 days per week over on Twitch, mostly gaming and chatting streams. And there it says it again, 5-year full-time content creator. Man, what a portfolio. I wonder if I can put this on a CV for applying to Anime North as a staff member. Okay, let's jump right into it. Today I'll be covering some of the basics of a VTuber debut stream. For those that have never heard of a debut stream before, this is basically your first ever stream. Introducing yourself to your audience for the very first time. Kind of similar to the slideshow today, but probably 90% less nervous. For your debut, you will need a VTuber model and set up for a stream. Now, your VTuber model can be absolutely anything, as I covered earlier. I often advise streamers that have furry models, chibi models, inanimate object models. I myself have a sheep model. I have a Chikawa model. I have a cake model. Anything goes in the world of VTubing. In terms of your design, this is your very first step towards becoming a VTuber. Think of a strong design, anything that you think you could embody most of the time on stream. You can find designs if you are not a creative like me. I can't draw, I can't design, through adoptables or through commissions. You can also then, once you've completed your design, take it to an artist and a rigger. That's the person who brings your model to life. You will find these people either through direct commissions over on Twitter or VGen, and you can also get adoptable or ready-made models on any kind of website. VGen, Twitter, sometimes Fiverr, individual commission websites, DeviantArt, that you can adopt and immediately stream as. Ready-made models are incredibly cheap, and you can get them for free or as little as $5. A lot of people think that VTubing is a very high-end hobby/profession, but you can actually get started and go really far with a very small budget. When I started in 2021, for my first year, I only spent $200 on my VTuber model and completed setup. So it's definitely possible. Make sure that wherever you purchase your pre-made model, your full completed own design, you vet your artist. Make sure that they're good on their commission queues. Make sure you don't pay for everything up front if they don't ask for it. And make sure to make contracts. Unfortunately, as with every profession, there are tons and tons of good, reliable people to commission out there. But there will always be some bad eggs. And I hope nobody falls into a terrible trap of getting scammed online for a VTuber model like me. Long story. For your commissions, try and always use PayPal as a payment processor. I know PayPal has its faults, but you can charge back for your undelivered commission, falsely delivered commission, or if you have any issues with the artist not delivering and keeping your money and running away with it for up to 180 days, just for your own safety. For your stream, you wanna prepare your debut template. Now, when I talk about template debuts, I'm talking about corporate style debuts with a slideshow, much like this one today. These are actually the basis for my last debut slides. Hehe. Any kind of lore you want to bring into your debut, any backstory for your character you want to showcase, I often recommend a Q&A segment to have a chance to talk to your audience for the first time with pre-selected question and a hook. If you are a creative, like an artist or a singer, you can bring that and incorporate it into your debut stream to give everyone a good idea of what you are about and what you might be creating in your time as a VTuber/content creator. For your stream, I also highly recommend having some graphics ready. So a logo like the top one in the corner, an overlay, which I'm actually not using today. I'm sorry. I know. Normally, there's a nice frame around this setup here. You will also need promotional materials like a music video or a trailer to hype up your debut stream. And some people like to prepare a reveal strategy. So step-by-step reveals for your VTuber model over on Twitter or your respective shorts platforms to hype up what you're going to look like and showcase your very first own design. I also always highly recommend getting art commissioned up front so you have some nice things to post over on social media. If you do post these for the very first time, make sure to credit your artists so that they can get some out of the extreme debut hype you're creating. Now, I wanted to cover this very briefly for getting started for free. These slides are very similar. I noticed now that they're very, very similar looking. Apologies. This is very, very easy steps for low-budget VTubers at the very beginning. 2D pre-made models at low cost, customizable as I was talking about earlier. There are also people that will resell their entire VTuber and or brand. Sometimes this includes their username and or Twitter handle. While I don't know how everyone in the audience feels about it, but you would be able to adopt an entire set of VTuber model art and alerts immediately, usually for a much lower cost than if you get them commissioned for the first time. So if you wanted to get started faster or get a big push and promotion from the person that is selling it, this is also a good place to start. Now, this was all for 2D models. If you're considering going 3D, which is also absolutely beautiful, you can download VTubestudio on Steam right now when you get home for free and create your very, very own VTuber model for the very first time. I actually do still have my very first 3D VTuber model too. They are very easy to make and they have so much value because you can import them into other programs like VRChat. The most budget route for an original design is the PNG tuber route. There is sometimes debate on social media whether PNG tubers are real VTubers or not. Personally, I think anything that uses a virtual avatar should be classed as a VTuber. This is a lot easier to set up if you have a lot of hardware limitations because movement like this, unfortunately, takes up a lot of space on your computer, a lot of CPU space, makes your computer very hot, especially in 3D. If you are very limited and you're streaming from a laptop or an older device, I can highly recommend getting started as a PNG tuber instead, so you don't fry your computer, don't have any lag or other tech issues. PNG tuber models can be easily commissioned over on a website called VGen or directly through Twitter and artist social media accounts. In terms of programs for 2D VTubing, once you have a model, you will need to be able to bring that guy to life. So that's normally the easiest done with an iPhone and VTubestudio. The demo for VTubestudio is completely free, and you can test a lot of the functionality with it for the very first time that way. For 3D, you will need a software on your computer side, so VC Face or Varudo, which is free on Steam, or something like VRoom, which is a Japanese software you can buy on Nijima or Booth for $2, or try their free demo as well. For your phone side, there are a lot more options for tracking for 3D models, so please look into each one carefully. Most of them do have free demos available. In terms of the actual streaming software, today I'm here using OBS, which I normally don't use on my stream, so apologies if everything's a little bit too clean and janky. This is not the software I normally go for. But OBS is completely free and open source, and there's also an alternative called Streamlabs, which is what I'm normally using. Not sponsored. But I have been using since 2021 and has worked pretty okay for me. They do have a free version as well, and if you wanted to go and try multi-streaming, which is streaming to multiple platforms at the same time, so YouTube and Twitch and Twitter for example, you can also use either of these with a different plugin. Now, back to your debut. Today I wanted to introduce you to planning for your tech and assets in terms of budget, something that I find a lot of my clients overlook when they first get set up, just so you don't throw yourself into debt over your debut. That's a tongue twister. Try saying that 3 times fast. For good practices for tech and asset budgeting is a good 50-50 budget between model and tech. That way, if you need to go and purchase something like an iPhone for tracking, which still, unfortunately, has the best tracking with the widest range, even in low-light conditions, I am coming to you at almost midnight from the Britlands today with no lights on in my room. This is the tracking you can get out of a new iPhone camera. So consider saving up in something I call a debut fund. When I first started, I actually set up a whole different bank account for my VTubing business so I could save my cash stunk money dollars and put stuff aside for the debut. I did not expect back then that I would be re-debuting 6 months later, so having some extra funds was really worth setting up. If you are comfortable with showing your model or a PNG model or a pre-made model in the meantime while you're getting ready for your debut, I can highly recommend streaming early and raising funds really early on so that you're ready with the best possible assets you can imagine for your debut stream. It's also helpful to use used equipment. Most of my first computer setup, my iPhone, and a majority of my tech parts actually come from a pawn shop. I know, unimaginable. Whenever I use full body tracking or VR headsets, I also still use rental equipment just to not go over budget every single month. VTubing and content creation can get really expensive over time, especially if you want to try out a lot of different media. So I do highly recommend going for cheaper assets, used and rental equipment. If you can, and if you have the capacity to, please feel free to network beforehand to expand your reach. Now, usually when people hear the word networking in the community, they mean jumping into collabs, getting business connections. But this can be as simple as just making your very first VTuber friends over social media. It can be really helpful in the long run as you have tech issues or questions for other people or need collab partners in the future. It's really good to go and get used to other VTubers, interacting with other people, and growing your social media that way. What I would also recommend, especially for your debut stream, is preparing a schedule. What kind of games you wanted to play, what kind of social media posts you wanted to make, what kind of videos you wanted to create, and when you wanted to release them 1 month ahead of time. That way, you won't sit on anything empty, and the hype from the debut can carry over into everything after. What I would not recommend for your tech and asset budget is the follow for follow trap over on Twitter and Blue Sky. Unfortunately, a lot of websites will penalize you for this strategy, and it's also not very helpful to sit on empty accounts that will unfollow you anyway. Don't go into debt for your debut. This is very silly. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You can do so much more with free assets. Don't get worried about something like this. Also, what I would recommend is test your entire setup beforehand. Run a test stream to a different website. Run a test stream to an empty account just to see that everything is working okay and you won't have any tech issues on your debut day. Make sure that you have contracts. Don't skip out on contracts with artists in terms of delivery dates for your model, so you don't end up not being able to debut on your planned date. Also, because this is a big controversy in the VTuber community every other day, don't copy your model or assets one-on-one. Oh, and obviously, please go have a plan for post-debut. Now, once you've narrowed down what you want to do, you have your model ready, you're ready to debut. What is going to be your specialty? This is your big marketing niche. Something like art if you're an illustrator, music if you're a singer like me, ASMR if you like crunchy sounds, or gaming, or anything else you can think of that could fit into a Twitch or YouTube category. Make this part of your branding. For example, it's really easy to find and market a VTuber with a color and niche concept. So pink ASMR cat VTuber will be way easier to search for on social media and way more memorable than variety streamer, which I see on a lot of people's profiles. A lot of people will give you the advice to niche down, but I can actually advise you guys to niche down on one of your main interests and then build upwards based on the genre that you're in, the category that you stream in, and the audience overlap that you have. For example, if... I think the best example for this is, while we're at an anime convention, what about different fandoms? If you're into the Amazing Digital Circus, were you also into FNAF, perhaps? Are you interested in other media with similar concepts and target audience? You can think about your audience as a VTuber and as a streamer in a similar way. What interests overlap for people? Which interests could you build on top of these? If you really like Roblox, will your audience perhaps also really enjoy Minecraft? If your audience really likes chatting streams, perhaps they will also really like chatty heavy games where you still have time to interact with them, like Stardew Valley. You should also be utilizing all of your social media accounts at this point. You don't have to make one on every single platform and post on all of them, but do pick your favorites and make sure that you have no empty days. There are very good scheduling softwares like Bplan and Metricool out there that let you schedule out your posts for throughout the week, so it appears that you're always online, but you're actually just scheduling them out over 1 hour per week. Work smarter, not harder. You can also start promoting your stream schedule everywhere else. Post it on your YouTube channel, your Twitter accounts, your Blue Sky accounts, so people know when you're back the next time. Here is your little summary for your debut strategy we talked about today. Are you happy with your VTuber and your design? What makes you stand out? What can you market to other people? Did you prepare every single one of your assets? Do you have contracts with your artists? And most importantly, did you test your tech? Will your stream run okay? Is your internet fast enough? Maybe you have to go and upgrade with your internet provider. This is a good time to do it. Now, moving on to intermediate. So, this is the category for when you have been streaming for a few weeks, 2 months. You have gotten your affiliateship or even your monetization on Twitch or on YouTube. It's time to review. Review your stream data weekly if you can. I know it's sometimes hard to look at, especially when you're just starting out. But know that not every day will look the same for you. You doing your very, very best does not always reflect in your stream statistics. These are purely for analytical purposes. So your top resources here are your analytics over on YouTube and on Twitch. And then for Twitch specifically, I can recommend Solynome, which gives you a good overview over overall trends on the site and individual games, as well as Twitch Tracker, which shows you a slightly less accurate reading of your Twitch statistics, but a slightly better reading in comparison to other streamers on the platform and to other streamers in the same categories. Now, often when I do my management consultations, I get asked what the best stream time is. And a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking that this hour, midnight British time, 6 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. EST, because the sites are the most busy and populated during those times, is the best time for you possibly to stream. There are so many different factors that go into finding an ideal stream time that the only concrete advice I can give today is what matches your energy and schedule IRL the best. I personally stream at 9 a.m. Eastern time, which is 2 p.m. for me in the Britlands. Even though most of my audience is watching me at work, I had way better results that way because I have way more energy during the daytime compared to late night, like today. I'm suppressing a yawn right now, I promise. Your energy matters way, way more than general statistics. And observing over 200 clients over the last 2 years, I have found that this is also the best strategy for them, especially in this bracket of VTubing. Now, it's time to focus on some new goals. Your debut is over. It's time to dream big. Set a major goal, for example, a target income if you're going for the profit route, or a target engagement. So you want to go and stream more on YouTube, or perhaps grow your shorts a little bit more. This is a good time to set that goal. Find a target audience based on your goals. If you wanted to pick a bigger goal, one thing, for example, would be to put on a karaoke concert at the end of the year. How are you going to bring people in for this one? Which songs are you going to be singing? And where are the people and the audience that are enjoying the songs? If you're doing Vocaloid song covers, consider advertising them on YouTube. If you're doing covers from, let's say, Has Been Hotel, consider advertising them on TikTok, where it's way more popular in comparison to YouTube. If you want to bring in your target audience through other socials and social media, make sure you think about your end goal for your end of the year or end of the quarter. Okay, this is one that I think I get asked about the most for this bracket of VTubing, which is the Twitch partner push. This is probably most people's main goal when starting to stream on Twitch, even though now affiliateship and partnership requirements are way more relaxed than they were a couple of years ago. They're still pretty difficult to reach. The minimum requirements at the moment is a 75 average viewership or above. Actually, what I would recommend is steering closer to 100. But you didn't hear that here. On 12 or more unique days in a 30-day period. What they're really looking for is a regular schedule so that you stream around the same time on each individual day out of the week that you normally schedule for. So let's say for me, that's Wednesday to Sunday. I have not broken the schedule outside of a couple of sick days since 2021. What they're really looking for is regular engagement on the site. So something like having public VODs up, having clips of your channel, and already having a good regular subscriber base can help. They're also looking for a minimum of 25 hours of stream time, and all of this they want to see for 2 months at least. Sometimes there are special exemptions where people jump to 1,000 average viewers and get their partnership approved without sending the lengthy application or having to wait for 2 months, but it's really, really rare. Please also make sure that if you apply for Twitch Partner, you have no DMCA strikes, no DMCA takedowns. Muted sections of a VOD are fine, but if you played the entire soundtrack of a movie on stream, you are ineligible for partnership until the strike gets taken off after 1 year. You can also prepare for your partnership application by preparing your essay, which is something like a media kit where you talk about who you are, what's unique about your stream, what do you normally do, your future goals, and how they involve Twitch. Your numbers, whether or not you're part of a Twitch team or the max of 2 Twitch teams, charity streams, and future plans for big marathon and charity streams are a big plus in this application. You can also advertise that you're pushing for partner on other social media if you want to. I would not put it in the stream title. Not that Twitch particularly cares, but I found that it's a bigger turnoff for viewers clicking into the stream. Now, going from partnership straight to revenue streams. This has more to do with event streams, so subathons and marathons, and merchandise. These are also 2 topics that clients usually ask me to handle fairly early on because they're difficult to understand and kind of hard to get into if you've never done it before. For event streams, these are things like subathons, marathons, special event streams like charity events. Please make sure you don't underpay yourself. If you're going into streaming for profit, split between your goal, 50, and your own purchase wage, 50. So a 50-50 split. Half of the profit will go towards your goals, for example, purchasing a new microphone or donating X amount to charity, and then have sub goals ready that also pay you in your pocket for your time. Now, there are 2 ways to structure your goals for your subathon. One of them being open goals. So this being something like, we will make new merch items if we reach X amounts of subscriptions or followers or bits, or new art distributed to the community, or a goal for a new model. Then there are also hidden goals, which in my manager opinion, work a little bit better. These are goals like handcam streams, where you would cover the webcam cost, but give your audience a handcam stream in return, or, for example, a 3D stream where you'll be covering the costs of your 3D model. Usually, giving your audience something back in return works a little bit better than goals that appear more selfish. In terms of merchandising, there are 2 big segments of merch suppliers within the VTuber sphere. One of them is the warehouse, and the other one is the on-demand print. Something like a warehouse would be a supplier of the merchandise. They make your merchandise, distribute it, package it, order it originally from the store, and then ship it out to your respective buyers. They will also make social media posts about these, so you don't have to worry about any of those. On-demand services are just that. These are shops like Fourth Wall, the Streamlabs merch store, where there is a limited type of merch available that you simply upload your prints for, that you have commercial license for, I hope. And then they distribute it from there. This means a little bit less input, no need for sending applications to a merchandise store, and a lot more safety and security around where everything is going and what your budget is going to be. If you're going with a warehouse/supplier model, I would highly recommend making a budget around that and setting up a contract with the respective store, just so none of your efforts will go to waste. Make sure you get commercial license contracts for any art you're bringing into these merch deals, just so they can't go back on you later and say, hey, actually, I would like some of your merch sale money too. Now, we briefly touched on marathon events earlier, but I wanted to quickly go over how to structure a subathon from the ground up, just because it's a little bit harder to understand if you have never done it or never observed it before. First off, which parts would you like to focus on for your marathon events? Is it advertisement, bringing in new followers and growing your brand, or is it revenue? Is there a specific goal you're saving for, like a new model, or some upgrades for your stream, or a new microphone? Prepare a gaming schedule based around your audience and audience engagement. This can be fun things like viewer games, open lobbies with your mods or viewers, anything that they can engage with that you wouldn't normally cover in your streams. You can prepare goals and rewards and make big graphics like this one with individual goals to give people an overview of what they're spending their money on. And make sure you keep the content enjoyable, even if it's over or underperforming. A lot of subathons and marathons go for quite a long time. As of guesting here today, we're on day 78 of my New Year's marathon. / 5-year anniversary marathon. So after today's panel, I'll be preparing my game list for the next couple of days, and I'll be continuing extra longy on Saturday and Sunday for 12 hours each day. So it's really helpful to have this rewards list and game schedule handy and keep adjusting it as you go along. You never know how long these may last. What I mean by keeping content enjoyable, and even if it's over or underperforming, if you're receiving a huge raid during your marathon, or if things die down if you're going to sleep overnight on stream, make sure that you're still enjoying it and you still show your audience that you're here for them and giving them a good time, regardless of how tired you get. Make sure you prioritize your health and sleep time. Whether that is sleeping on stream and pausing your timer or shutting your stream down completely, make sure you take care of yourself and your health, or you cannot go for 78 days straight. In terms of viewer games and collabs, you can use them as buffers as well. If you're feeling tired, you can let your friends or mods take over for a day or a couple of hours, just so you don't feel too bad during your lengthy marathon stream. Some good resources for these are the Subathon Evolved timer that keeps track of every single sub gifted, even if your stream should crash, and the Megathon timer, which updates your goals live as they get reached, so you don't have to change your graphics or your assets or your goal numbers on your overlay during that time. Now, it wouldn't be a Kuromiya Lucien panel if we didn't talk about taxes and copyright today. I love legal talk. Now, every single asset you purchase, every single VTuber model item, everything you own and purchase from an artist has copyright applied to it. Once you make a copyright transferal contract with your artists, this belongs completely and solely to you. Please hold on to these documents as you might need them later. Every now and then, I get an imposter account somewhere, and websites will not listen to you as a VTuber the same as if a personal brand and person's identity is stolen. So hold on to your legal paperwork. Copyright laws, if you are hiring an artist from Japan versus when you're hiring an artist based in the US or Canada, are very different. Japan's copyright system is a lot more complicated, and you should make sure you have an English contract with your Japanese artist to cover all bases. Always ask for commercial licenses for merch and sold art pieces. You can get in a lot of trouble if you're selling artwork, YCH art, or anything that you don't have commercial licenses for, and you don't want to damage your brand or reputation. Make sure you cover all of these bases in your individual contracts. Hold on to them in physical and in digital format, just in case. Copyright issues can damage your reputation and your socials. Be safe, not easy. Even if your commercial license contract or your copyright transferal contract takes a little bit longer, it's still better than ruining your entire career over it. Okay, up next, more official talk, and I'm gonna be as fast as possible, I promise. I promise. We're also gonna talk about some financials, which is taxes. Yippee. I love taxes. Yay. I wanted to quickly cover what classes as taxable income because you will have to register as a business, even you Canadians, and pay your stream revenue percentages into your taxes. Make sure you keep an eye on that, especially if you're self-employed. Your stream revenue, your merch sales, your tips, your commissions if you're an artist or a singer like me, your models, assets that you sell on, etc. all are classed as taxable income. Don't get in trouble over something easily preventable. But luckily, you may not have to pay as much because there are a lot of tax-deductible expenses if you're a VTuber, such as your equipment purchased solely for streaming, games, but you will need proof of play to not get in trouble. So keep those VODs and keep an eye on your Twitch tracker to see how long you spent playing these. Your editing software, editing commissions, models, any advertisement you pay for. I'm a person who books a billboard once a year. Wink wonk. Those are very expensive. And your software used for VTubing. If you're using these predominantly for your business, you'll be able to deduct them from your taxes and pay a little bit less. Now, for our growth strategy summary. Once again, what are your goals? What are your next steps? Who is your target audience? And how will you market to them best? Did you register your business? Did you keep track of your expenses? Make sure you write them down somewhere. And is your direction for VTubing and content creation clear? Where are you heading next? Hopefully, you're heading over to professional. Now, this is a lot more about sustaining and growing your channels. Maximize your productive time. This is the stage you're at. You have reached Twitch partner. You have reached YouTube partner. You're making cash stunk money dollar. And what you really want to do now is have some free time to have some more ideas. So this is the time to hire editors and staff for you. Personally, I have an assistant. I have a manager. I have a group of 3 editors because I could never be making this many daily videos all by myself at this quality. This is also the time to accept and look into sponsorships, growing off-stream with videos you record at home, or going to conventions and events like this one I'm here at today, or auditioning into agencies. It's time to push your best possible metrics, look into merchandising deals, and into niche-based projects. This is more about your content niche we discussed earlier, so music, art books if you're an artist, or similar projects. Make sure that this time round, when you reach this point, you also look into more advanced legal resources, so like lawyers and accountants, to handle things on a bit more of a professional level so you don't get in trouble later. Now, my favorite slide out of this entire slideshow is management right for me. There are different types of VTuber managers. The consultant or independent manager, that's me, or corporate managers, that are those at a talent management company. For a consultant or manager, these are the people, like me, that run analytics and social media management. So we will look at all of your statistics on these different sites and give you the best advice and things you might overlook. And we also do one-off appointments, sometimes monthly contracts, though that's more rare. We work on plans to achieve your goals individually based on your plans, your target audience, things you want to achieve. And we work on a commission basis, which means that most of us are hireable on a one-off chance or a monthly chance, and we can be cancelled on any time. For corporate talent management companies, this is usually a place you will access through auditions, where you showcase what you can do, want to achieve, what your special talents are, and is usually very, very difficult to achieve. Make sure that your values align with the company that you audition for, and make sure that you understand their business model. A lot of companies will go into music directions or esports directions, so make sure you apply where you think you belong. Always NDA personal information. Now, this goes for consultants or managers as well, in case they see any of your personal information, like your PayPal, your business registration, things like that. And for corporations, they will normally give you a mutual NDA during the audition phase so that you can make sure you're not leaking any company secrets and that your own personal information is protected. Now, moving on to one of my favorites, sponsorships. There are different types of sponsorships, and I have categorized them out into 3 main categories. The affiliateship, which is a payout per sale. For example, you're selling 1 cup of energy drink, and you're getting X percentage in return in either store credit or cash. And next, the free product or game for the advertisement, which is still pretty good value if you're getting a free game out of it. Wink wonk. And finally, the most highly valued, the lump sum. This is when a company will pay you upfront or after the delivery for making a video or placing a product placement in a video for them. A really good sponsor, number 1 thing to look out for is transparency and private communication. Don't take on any sponsors that only talk to you over public channels like Twitter or Blue Sky. Make sure that you have an email trail or a private Discord conversation. Now that we're on the pro side, I get to talk about analytics a little bit more for your best possible metrics. Identify long-term and short-term trends. Have a look at your statistics on the 12-month versus 3-month period and see if individual games make your numbers go up or go down. Manage your revenue and plan for quarterly expenses and projects. These are big expenses like new model upgrades, model outfit debuts, 3D models, and 3D concerts, for example. You can identify individual trends per category and game with the Solinome and Twitch tracker and Twitch's own analytics that I mentioned earlier. You can also push for specific holidays like spring break, winter, and summer holidays when sites are more popular, especially during daytime hours. If you're streaming during daytime hours. You can identify and plan for bad months ahead of time, especially if you keep your quarterly expenses in mind, and you have a look at annual trends. For me personally, January, most stingy month of the year. Same as August, because people are very busy during their summer break. You can introduce viewer games for engagement that give you a secondary strain of income, something like crowd control, or stream loots, or marbles on stream for prizes. Now, another slide I added purely out of requests from the community is the music production, because a lot of people ask me how to make covers and originals, especially as a VTuber, if they have never done it before. I don't know how many musicians are in the audience today, but this might be working quite differently from how a normal music project would go. I'm gonna be covering the cover first and then the original song. For a cover, make sure you check your licensing and the label that produced the original song beforehand. Some labels, if they are bigger or if they are part of movie soundtracks, will just simply not allow you to put them on YouTube and make them accessible to all countries. You will often see things muted in places like Germany or Eastern Europe fairly easily that way. Make sure you commission for an instrumental, either on VGen or directly. Sometimes, songs, especially those on Otoiro and Vocaloid songs, the artist will provide you with the background track for free in exchange for not monetizing your cover. You can record your vocals in software like Audacity, or I personally like to use Adobe Audition if you're used to the Adobe interfaces. You can get your music after you recorded it, tuned and timed first, and then mixed and mastered into a final track. Don't expect any big revenue split for these. Most of them are not monetizable, and they're solely for YouTube. There are some exceptions where you can put these on licensing platforms, but you often need permission from the original singer or author. Now, for original songs, none of that matters. Make sure you set aside a larger budget because making original background music, original instrumentals, is a little bit more expensive than making covers. Make contracts for your revenue and copyright split for these, especially before licensing with Sounddrop or another licensing platform that puts these on Spotify and iTunes. Hire a lyricist if needed. Personally, I have never written lyrics for my own songs before. Really sorry to break it to everyone, but all of these were written by people I have commissioned that have way more experience than me to make them sound as good as possible. Make sure you register for safe anonymous publishing. I mentioned Sounddrop earlier because Sounddrop gives you the option to omit your legal name when publishing these songs so that in the description on our Spotify, it doesn't tell people that you're Greg from accounting. Now, our summary for the professional path. How do I retain my audience? Do I need help managing my brand? What is my public image? And is my privacy protected? What are my next big goals? It's very important you always focus on the next step. Thank you guys so much for your questions and attending the panel today. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you at the meet and greet later. If you have any more questions, you can also bring them to me there. Bye-bye!